What is going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Yes, it's Friday. We made it through a week that was brutal. Very, very tough. Not a good MLB week for me. I've had some lineups that looked good and had some of the right pieces, but just couldn't get the whole thing together quite right. It's a lot been due to pitching, and it's been rough. But you know what? We're on to a big Friday, and I want to give a shout out to K9 Bronco, who was there for the chat earlier. I seriously suggest anyone who either does or doesn't use SaberSim watch the video we made with them. I think it's really interesting. My personal take is that SaberSim is the best projection site in the industry. They do it from a different method, so they actually take less of your work. Now, you still have to do some of your work, but they take less of your work than any site I've seen and tries to account for things that other people aren't accounting for, because they run simulations that are, it's just fascinating. It's really, really interesting stuff. Jordan was wonderful. These guys are really, what they do with their data analysis is similar to what my instincts do. So there's a good combination. And you have me and Rody as high stakes players. You have Sheets as a guy who plays high stakes sometimes and sometimes likes to spread it out and all those things, and uses a lot of numbers. So I feel like we have a really good team here going on. And then of course we got Chan, who's just the LOL killer. And if you're playing LOL and you're not following Chan, I think you're probably missing something. But that's just to get it out the way. Please like and subscribe, guys. We always appreciate it. We can get into tonight's slate. I want you to fire in questions, fire in thoughts, criticisms, whatever the hell you got. I don't want trolls, but I do want people just challenging, everything. Because what I want to do tonight is pretty basic. I understand, and I think for good reason, the Dodgers have a lot of interest. I just want to say that I think that what I'm doing is when this happens and I like a stack, but everybody else is on the stack, I think what I'm going to do is first of all, there's ways to get different within the stack. You play I think Will Smith is going to come in a little lower owned than he's being projected, but still he'll have some ownership. I think you play Chris Taylor, who no one's going to play. I think you play Gavin Lux, who no one's going to play. Cody Bellinger is, even as a one-off, it's really hard to ignore him at this price. I think he should be in a good portion of your lineups. Meanwhile, I'm sweating out Chris Kirk to make the cut with 2 holes to go, and he's on the number right now. So I've got a lot of 6-6s if that happens. Unfortunately, I don't know why I had as much Chris Kirk as I do, but that's a whole separate thing. There, we got Rody in the chat. What's up, Rody? Rody, tell the people what's good. Let's get it going. We have no sheets today. We will talk some NBA. You guys pop in your questions. I'll tell you what I'm doing, and it's going to be about a 5-minute run through about what I'm doing, and then you guys are going to tell me what you think makes sense. So the teams I'm stacking as full or 4-man stacks, which is full to me on slates that are a little bit less than the full slate, not 15 games, whatever. I understand the 5-mans in those situations. Tonight, I am going to be heavy on Toronto. I think that they are getting drastically overlooked. I think that there is some real upside there. And whether it's a 3 or 4-man stack, I really like Toronto. I think you're going to see concentrated ownership on the Yankees and Dodgers. I don't think it'll be as high on the Yankees as it was going to be because Aaron Judge is out. I still want to attack Lyles, so I'm trying to figure out how to do this exactly. You know what I mean? I really, really want to attack Lyles. So those are my main stacks. I know there's nothing shocking about them, but like I currently have Rizzo as being low owned. I have Donaldson as being low owned. I have LeMahieu as being low owned. I have Glaber as being somewhat owned. But again, the Oriole killer, the guy who hits better in Baltimore than anybody in the history of baseball. No joke. That's actually a real thing. He has better numbers in Baltimore than anyone has anywhere, including Colorado. It is psychotic. I suggest you look it up if you want to verify that for yourself. And some of it might be fluky. Some of it might be the left field, which has been moved back, but there's 10 miles an hour of wind today. So I'm into that. I'm into that situation. But I really like Toronto here. I really think that that's a really good way. It shouldn't be a get different way, yet it is. And I think it's a really good way to go. The other stacks that, you might be filtering in, I can get behind KC, even against Skubal, who I think is pretty good. I could also argue for the pitchers and both pitchers in this game, but I think that whole game has some interest from me. I think Milwaukee is semi-interesting, but I don't buy that they're horrible against their run total so far this season. Chicago and Colorado, what's interesting is that you're never going to get these guys low owned, and you finally will. So that's really my immediate pivot off of the Dodgers stuff is these guys are not going to be owned. By the way, why can't Patrick Cantlay miss a single thing? How is this guy birding every hole that no one can seem to make par on? The guy frustrates the hell out of me. I do have like 15% of them, but Not as much in my big ones, so that's a little frustrating. But that's sort of the overall hitting for me. Some of the individual bats I like. I do think the Angels and Texas are both in play, but I'm not as excited about this with a bullpen game against the Angels. Against Texas, you've got Detmers and then sort of a bullpen. It's just, I don't know. I don't feel as good about it. Mike Trout obviously is a great play. Shohei is obviously a great play. I don't mind getting them in the mix. Of course, Corey Seager, lefty gets lower ownership. Absolutely doesn't mean a thing. Play Corey Seager. Simeon, Garcia. Garcia is going to be low owned. You could take a shot on him. Garcia, Merrifield, Rendon all fit into that same category that like just really, really high top level upside guys that are priced beneath where they maybe should be. Garver, you could throw in that mix too, but I think that Garver will be owned. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on here. And oh, wow, Kisner just missed the cut on the number by missing a 5-footer or so. Wow. Okay. Well, a lot of golf going on too. So that's my sort of overall baseball for the hitting. The pitching is going to be pretty basic for me. I'm going to play Rodon and Gore as my primary pitchers on DraftKings. I'm going to play Peralta as a pivot guy, even though he's not really a pivot because his price. You could play he and Rodon together. Maybe use a couple cheap bats like Hunter Dozier. Hunter Dozier is another one-off that I like. You could use the third baseman Bobby Witt, and you could get these guys in with a good stack still. You could make the same argument for Dylan Cease. I just think that Tampa is a little more talented of an offense than the ones these guys are facing so far. And Freddie Peralta, good against righties, a lot of righties in that St. Louis lineup. Skubal and Gonsolin, fine, you can mix these guys in. But the guy I'm going with as my top secondary starter, and I'm using him on FanDuel a little bit, is Herman Marquis. I think that this is a really, really good way to get different. This guy can have elite stuff. He just put up 21.95 fantasy points against the Dodgers in Colorado in 7 innings he pitched. I mean, this guy, when he's on, is like an elite level pitcher. He's pitched there forever. If this game was in Chicago and the wind were blowing in, he would be like 70% owned on this slate. This is good enough of a reason for me. It just take the shot on the high strikeout Cubs against Marquis with a massive upside. I just think you take that shot. Now, if you're not taking that shot, I think you take some of those stacks. Like I said, that nobody's playing. But again, I probably would be less likely to stack against Marquis. I don't really like stacking against Stroman either. So it'd be like 2-man stacks or 3-mans at the most. But I do like Marquis a lot, like a real lot. And I think that, look, it might not work out. He might give up 10 runs in the first. But at the same time, we've seen him pitch in Colorado for 6 years now. And he is elite at times wherever he is, and he's really good in general. So I just bet on the guys who are good. That's sort of my feeling about Toronto. Bet on the guys who are good. If they're not going to be as owned. I have a sneaky feeling that Toronto is going to end up more owned than what people are projecting them at. But I do think that it's going to be way lower owned than they should be. So I'll take the 3 most talented offenses for $1, Alex. The 3 best offenses in baseball are the Yankees, Blue Jays, and Dodgers, in my opinion. You don't have Judge in the Yankee lineup, which makes it a little worse. So it's going to be tough to figure out. You could argue Houston right in there too, I guess, and maybe even the White Sox when they're healthy, but not the night for me for those teams. All right, so that's where I'm at for what I'm doing. Tell me about what you're doing. Let's talk about some things. All right, QQ. I like 5 pitchers on FanDuel: Marquez, Rondon, Cease, Freddie Peralta, and Herman. Those are this. Are you talking about? Is there another Herman that I'm missing? What am I missing here? Am I missing something, guys? Because we've got a Herman Marquis, but is there Domingo Herman is not pitching, or there's no? Yeah, I like. So I'm playing Marquez in one of mine, and I'm playing on FanDuel, and I'm playing Rodon in one of my big ones. In each of my big ones, that's what I'm doing on FanDuel. I'm a little nervous because I do think Freddie Peralta has elite level upside, but so does Rodon. Rodon is like probably one of the most underrated pitchers of the last 10 years. Like when he's healthy, he's freaking awesome. I'm staying away from the Brad Keller thing, even though I get it. I actually think the over in that game is a really good bet at 8 between KC and Detroit. I think there's a really good chance that game gets to double digits easily. And I'm just trying to figure this out. And the juice cleanse is over, so I'm onto the booch now. It's a Friday. What the hell? All right. Let's see what else we got. So that's the best I can do with that side of it. Thanks so much, Joanne. Always great to hear from you. How high am I on Gore? I feel like he's asking. It is a little bit, but if you haven't seen somebody before, it could go one of two ways. I don't mind an Atlanta stack. I just think there's enough, like, look, 10 points might be enough. And the guy can literally end up with, he might have 8 by the end of the first inning. Like, he's elite. He's not necessarily there yet. We know how this goes. Sometimes you walk a few extra guys and the coach comes in and gets you the hook early. So at his ownership, I'm honestly not that crazy about it, but I'm willing to take the upside versus average, right? Like, they're not going to let him battle through much. But at the same time, they're probably going to let him throw 75 pitches or 70 pitches. And he's 5K, unless he's really getting hammered. I see it more likely that he walks some guys and gets hammered, and that's his, like, downside, you know? But I don't think that, like, he's certainly nowhere near a lock. Like, if you want to go a different direction, I like Kyle Wright as a really weird pivot. Kyle Wright is somebody we should talk about. This guy was a top-level pick. He was the number 5 overall pick in the MLB draft 5 years ago. Started looking better towards the end of last year. In the first game against Cincinnati, a team that doesn't strike out, he struck out 6 in 6 innings. He threw 76 pitches, and he had 27.7 DK points. That's probably interesting enough where we should play him as a pivot off these guys. So I have some marquee right lineups that I feel, oh, I can play the chalk I want to, but I don't need to play the chalk, but I can if I want to because I'm playing those two guys. So anyway, that's one thing I'm doing. Let's see what else we got. Seattle, interesting stack, but too many outfielders. Yeah, it's a problem with them. I don't like Seattle as a stack, to be honest with you tonight. I'm okay with whatever. I don't think Odorizzi's as bad as the numbers will show. I actually think Odorizzi's totally in play. But I wouldn't be surprised if they got to him. It's just that bullpen is good behind him. There's better spots. Seattle's a great pitcher's park. You know, all those things sort of lead me to maybe not being on that train. For what it's worth, Rodon has a 7.5 K prop, which is the highest on the slate. Freddie Peralta has a 6.5, and nobody else other than Dylan Cease, who also has a 6.5. Nobody else has higher than a 4.5 K prop. So you could make an argument to just play those guys on DK, and I think that wouldn't be a bad strategy because there's enough value you can mix in with whatever stacks you're using. The Dodgers have 2 guys in the 2Ks. You know, you could mix in a Bobby Witt Jr., you could mix in a Hunter Dozier, Victor Reyes. There's a bunch of guys you could mix in to your stacks to make you feel, okay, I've got a stack that I like still with 2 sort of randoms. But Bobby Witt's like a good play. Like, you know what I mean? So is Victor Reyes to some extent. I mean, leading off, like, even if he gets you like 7 or 8 points, 2,500, you don't want to use an outfield spot looking for that usually. But, you know, you got Bellinger in there. There's just a lot of Hunter Dozier again, the one who will be unowned again against a lefty. Oof. I like Hunter Dozier's odds to hit a home run tonight. I really think if there's a good night for this guy to hit one out, this would be one of those nights. And the weird part about the Royals stack is I like it every time I try to stack them. I like them 1 through 9 because of the pricing, because you have Taylor and Dozier at the bottom of the lineup. But the problem is they're not going to be popular. So it's like a great thing to utilize when they're popular, not so great to utilize when they're not. Yesterday would have been a good day to utilize it. I did play some Hunter Dozier yesterday because of it. All right, let's see. Brandon Belt thoughts. I think he goes yard today. I like it, Adam. I'm not doing it, to be honest with you, because I really am in love with Vlad. I'm really in love with, as I mentioned, Hunter Dozier, Rizzo, where I'm doing that weird marquee right thing. I don't care about the ownership, although he's not projected to be that owned, which is kind of interesting. But I do really like the Brandon Belt idea. I think that's a really good call. As another interesting stack, the Giants are certainly interesting. I just am not getting there that much outside of, I think it's Yastrzemski is the guy I have the most interest in. But I do like Belt. I just wish there was more positions to play. On FanDuel, better play because you get the utility spot. All right, let's see. Is Gore really going to be around 30%? Yeah, you know what? Go for it. Take the Braves. That's fine. The only thing I'd warn you about is that San Diego historically has a pretty good bullpen. We're going to assume it's the same this early in the season, but you know what? Pretty good bullpen. Simple as that. Wind blowing in at Colorado. How you feel about Stroman? I side way with Marquis, but I don't mind Stroman either. These are the guys who people aren't going to own. The weird part is when an offense isn't owned in the best hitter's park in baseball by a long shot, and when a defense isn't owned, when a pitcher isn't owned, there's probably somewhere is right. You know what I mean? At least getting a couple hitters or at least getting one of those pitchers. So I would say that would be a good way to go, or one of the hitters, two of the hitters, whatever. You still have the best hitters parking, and maybe you prefer a lefty because the wind's blowing in at 10 miles an hour from left field. But that's the way I would look at that kind of situation. Yeah, the problem is Seattle's tough, man. I get you with the Astros, but it's just tough. And also, like, everybody wants to pick on Marco Gonzalez, and you can go back to everything I've done for years or talked about for years. The guy just is a pretty good pitcher. Just simple as that. He's just pretty good. It's not the most fun thing to play against him. All right, I'm going to jump over to baseball. You guys fire in basketball. You guys fire in the baseball questions. I'm going to say what I'm doing in basketball. So the thing that's interesting about tonight is the Paul George thing. I mean, look, I'm all for like mask off, let's go, let's have our lives. I also was very much on the side of, hey, protect everybody, like at all costs. We don't know what this is. It's an infectious disease. I've had family who had serious ones. So I was very worried about it. Anyway, this is all to say that I understand why you'd have to be benched or not allowed to play if you have COVID. But how in the world do you let yourself get COVID? Like, I'm serious. How do you do that in a one-game playoff? Like, even if it was a full series, I understand you have time in between, but you have one game, man. One game. You got to be there. Very, very, very strange situation. It's going to open the Clippers back up to where they were. Reggie Jackson and Norman Powell are going to look like virtual locks. I do like both of them. I don't like Zubac as much as everybody else does. I feel like he's going to be higher owned. I just won't play him probably. I get it. Completely get it. And he can even extend Joval a little bit away from the basket. I would personally rather take the Joval side of this, or Ingram, or one of those guys with a few Clippers is the way I'm going to do it. Marcus Morris is probably going to get a lot of ownership. The two guys I'm wondering about are Terrence Mann, and I think Batum is going to be the lower owned of the bunch. And I like both of those guys quite a bit. So I would suggest you get some exposure to those guys in your tournaments. Because, Paul George is a real loss. They're going to shorten the rotations. They're not going to play 20 guys like they did during the regular season. I think Trae Young is like a near impossible fade tonight. And I think that Darius Garland is a near impossible fade tonight. I like Atlanta, for whatever it's worth. And I think that Cleveland is going to do everything they can to keep it close, which means Garland is going to have 1,000,000% usage. They raised LeVert's price. I think Kevin Love with his projected 20. Somebody explained to me why Kevin Love is projected for 20 minutes. We're expecting, so Jared Allen's probable, but I understand. You understand that Kevin Love in a must whatever, it's going to be one of the other guys off the court if they're down 5 with 3 minutes left or something. It's hard for me to see him not closing, I guess, on this team, which puts a little bit of the guy who hurts the most, who was my favorite tournament play last time, was Rondo. I loved Rondo last time, and he put up 23 fantasy points, which is awesome. If you can get like 5x from your cheap guys, because it's so hard with the pricing in the postseason, it's really, really, really good on a 2-game slate. If I can get 20 points out of Rondo, I'd be thrilled tonight, but that's a tougher thing to ask. The one thing is they did use him when they were in trouble, and I think they're going to be in trouble tonight. So I'm sort of going back and forth with all these things. And the Jared Allen thing, I want to hear a little bit more. I don't have enough information. The game is not till 7:30, so I don't have to wait until that. But I'll be in Discord if anybody has any questions. Just make sure to @ me on that. I'll go back to baseball now because I'm sure that's what most people are interested. I think that we mostly have got everybody listened to. By the way, again, reminder, check out the SaberSim video we just did. We're so happy to have partnered with SaberSim. If you guys aren't using SaberSim, let me tell you something. Our SaberSim package is barely more than what they charge, and we're on the same side. We're literally a few dollars more, and you can have everything that SaberSim's offering. And SaberSim is the best projection site in the industry that has an optimizer. Sheets, I'll still say, has the best projections, but a lot of it is due to SaberSim because these guys are incredible. And you get Sheets' projections also. You get mine and Rody's core. You get all of our plays of the day, my bets of the day, which, by the way, I'm 8-0 in the NBA season. Let's keep that going. Got to knock on wood on that one. But let's get it tonight. I feel like something good's going to happen for somebody. I really like what BBF says over here. BBF used to be my initials, by the way, when I was growing up. I tried to change my middle name because it's Lewis. And as a kid, like, Lewis doesn't sound good to like a 9-year-old. So I wanted to be like Bobby Brewer in Firestone because we grew up at UCLA campus. So anyway, this is a lot of randomness, guys. I know it's probably like more fun to just joke and mess around about. I understand if everybody wants to leave in a few minutes, but I'm going to hang out here and see if any more questions or thoughts come up, and just pray that Chris Kirk makes the cut. Can we get it? Can we get a Chris Kirk cut? Can we do it? I don't think we're going to do it. He was even with 2 holes to play. Let's see where we are now. All right, we're even with 1 hole to play. So we need a par, buddy. We need a par. Let's get a par out of Chris Kirk, keeping a lot of lineups alive that are very strong. And by the way, if you're alive, you're within 9 strokes of the lead. I know it sounds like a lot more, but like Cantlay went on a crazy run. It looked like it was going to be within 6 shots of the lead. Cantlay is going to be tough to beat, though, to be honest, guys. And you got JT here. As long as he doesn't 3-putt, he'll be good. This is a tough one, though. Actually, no, he's fine. He can 4-putt it and he'll still make it. Never mind. JT is going to go on a massive run tomorrow. Just watch. I think the morning guys are going to go crazy. If you guys are playing, I think bet on the morning guys. Bet on the morning guys. Bet on Morikawa wherever he is. Bet on JT wherever he is, whatever time he plays. And please, Chris Kirk, somehow make it on 18 here. That would be really, really helpful. I didn't even wasn't even that drawn to him. I got talked into him. It made a lot of sense. But again, I can't blame anybody else. I choose my lineups, but it is frustrating to play him. And I think he's like playing some of his worst golf. I'm very happy with my Mito, Pereira, and Joaquin Niemann combos because it allowed me to get one more spend up. And then I played like 30% Matt Neesmith, who's 4 under at 6,800. So that feels really good. So there's certainly some possibilities for golf for me. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Any interest in the USFL? No, not going to go there. I really figured that like a while ago, like it's better to be, for me in DFS, it's better to be a master of whatever, not instead of being a jack of all trades, a master of some. And I truly believe that golf has now become one of them. My last 2 weeks separate. I mean, I had 3 months winning and won a ton of money. But I think the main thing is to focus on what you're good at, what you're comfortable with. I do think with Sheets' projections and SaberSim, you can kind of, especially like in the LOL and the tennis, I think I probably could become a profitable player. But it's just not what my focus is. I want to do the best job I can for you guys. I want to have all the information that the sites aren't getting on, that every number maybe isn't picking up, that things that are motivating to NBA players that might be important. Things like that, I'd rather just be good at my NBA. I think my best sports in order are NBA, MLB, NFL, golf. Although the results would tell you that it would be NBA golf. Play something in it. I'm just not into the USFL thing yet. Maybe I will get into it. Maybe we can talk a little bit about it. I can tell you what the projections will say, if that helps. But I'm not like into it. I just have no real interest. It feels like a gimmick to me. And I'd rather try and do the things I'm good at. Oh, it's Bapongo Fiesta. That's who it is. Oh, that's sweet. I love it. Glad to see you back, man. I remember back from the RG days, right? Like you used to write it all the time in there. It's good to see you, man. I think it is you, right? I'm pretty sure it's you. All right. Anybody else with any questions or thoughts on tonight's slate? I know it's a Friday, so we kind of lose people and it's kind of boring, which is why I'm having my little booch and watching my guys do whatever they're going to do. Really sweating this Chris Kirk on 18 here. That's the toughest hole in the course too, just for those of you who don't know. So a par will get him in, and a bogey will make me want to throw something. All right, let's see what he's got. I don't even have it live on the TV. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. I'm just watching. Sometimes it's hard to watch it on TV. I feel like I never see somebody make a putt. That's right. Favorite one-offs for Clay Davis. Good question. And I can take that into some home run props if you want to. I like Anthony Rendon, Mitch Haniger. These are my weird one-offs. I like Anthony Rendon, Mitch Haniger. I'm trying to go back to my sheet, but for some reason it got disappeared during the oh, that's yesterday's sheet. That one goes in the trash. Money. Just missed actually. The trash was closed. Let's see. I think those were my favorite two. I had a couple others. I mean, outside of the obvious one-offs, let's see. Bobby Witt as a price point, but not a home run bet. Rowdy Tellez. as a price point and a home run bet. Darren Ruff. As a home run bet, I like Brandon Belt, which was mentioned earlier. Really like Max Muncy as a home run bet, but again, very popular, so you don't need a one off of him. Those are my favorite ones, I think. Yeah, those are who I'm playing. I think Springer is a phenomenal one-off. I guess if you're going to treat the Blue Jays differently, Springer and Vlad are like the best one-offs every day, right? It's like these guys, I mean, you get the stolen base upside too with Springer. These guys both crush the ball. I expect the Blue Jays to have a monster year. And I think that the Blue Jays might go nuts tonight, guys. I really do. Sure, been wrong before with the Blue Jays. Been very right before. But this is one of the times you can be right and not be on the chalk. And the chalk is absolutely really, really, really prevalent. So you're going to get a lot of ownership on certain spots tonight. And I'm saying maybe we go Blue Jays with some Yankees and Dodgers, maybe a little bit of the Colorado Cubs game, and go from there. Pretty much it. Any other questions popping in? Let's see. KZ stack Whit Perez. See, that's a mini stack. I love that stack. But again, you're going to be a little bit on the chalk with that stack. So maybe you add a fourth member if you can. Seth Brown is not standing out in any way for me. Could he do it? I actually believe in the talent. Just there's nothing about like what I'm doing that really wants to I don't know. I don't really want to. It's not Rasmussen even. It's just like the whole team. But I think that's a reasonable play. Sure, absolutely. I just didn't be honest. Like I'm not doing it. I would like to play Gavin Sheets. Get a little Sheets action. This guy always hits home runs. Every time I say his name, he hits a home run. And we say it a lot because Sheets is on the air. So it feels like every time he starts a game, he hits a home run. Not really, but I know he has the power to. That's one nice thing. All right, who was that? That was Cam Young. Come on, what's happening with Chris Kirk? You know what? They should do a better job on golf coverage around the cut line. They should really, really cater to people who are about to make the cut, especially in a tournament where the cut line might mean everything. I remember the one DJ won where he won by like 6 strokes and he was the last player in. He literally made a birdie on 18. And he was like 12 shots back and he won by 1,000,000 strokes. And they didn't show any of him the first 2 days. I was just like, okay, what are you guys doing here? Aaron Wise, of course, decides to pick today to be the one to get there. Kind of frustrating. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to get out of here and finish building my lineups. I do wish you all the best of luck. I will be in Discord. I know there's not as much for late baseball Discord, but let's see some screenshots today. Let's see some wins. Rody, get a win. Get a win already. Come on, man. Get one of me and you has to get a win already, like a real win. Let's go. Come on. It's time to do it. Good luck, everybody. And I would encourage you, look, you can hate me for all you want. But if I had to play the 150 today, I would have had at least one Toronto player, I think, in all my lineups. They just have too much. They have like five spots on the field, and then you've got the cheap catcher on top of it, where I just don't mind going for any of it. So I'm open to all of Toronto today. I want to just make that really clear. Anyway, good luck to everybody tonight, and I hope if I don't win it all, I hope you guys do. And even if I do win it all, maybe you all win the other one. Good luck, everybody.